So Klitschko has faced many opponents in recent years who come into the ring with a certain degree of confidence, and within a couple rounds that confidence dissipates as Klitschko unfurls his jab and that right hand behind it.
Klitschko awaiting the birth of his first child. Longtime paramour Hayden Panettiere expecting within a couple of weeks from now to deliver a daughter. He's been somewhat apprehensive in the build-up to the fight, worrying that the baby might be born before the fight takes place. Apparently that isn't the case so far. She's still on course for a couple of weeks from now, and now Vladimir's in there against Kubrat Pulev. And already Tony Weeks talks to the two of them and breaks them up, and of course some people were disappointed with the way the referee handled the Povetkin fight in Moscow. Tony Weeks has been flown into Hamburg for this one, and you can see that he's working already. Max, I wouldn't say that Tony Weeks is necessarily a restrictive activist referee, nor is he a let him go and let him fight kind of a guy. He's somewhere in the middle.
And Pulev here, he may have his hands full because Klitschko is using the clinch very early. Pulev here, opening bell, comes right at Klitschko, and he's fighting him the way once upon a time it was felt you had to fight Klitschko. You had to rough him up. You had to create some doubt in his mind about his ability to fight through a rough fight. You had to show Vladimir that he could be hit and hurt. It hasn't gone that way for Klitschko opponents in recent years. Klitschko has weathered the kind of storms they've been able to muster. But Pulev believes, obviously, early in this fight, it's what he has to do.
And a left hook lands for Klitschko, and down goes Pulev. 1 minute and 11 seconds into the fight.
And that's why it doesn't work.
And now Pulev mugging with Klitschko as if to say, look, I'm not hurt. But that was a solid left hook, which delivered exactly the same result as a lot of other Klitschko left hooks, and now there are 2 knockdowns.
That's why you can't just give Klitschko the bum's rush. He's not the same guy who was knocked out repeatedly years ago.
2 knockdowns in the first round of Pulev, both of them by left hooks. Klitschko has found a hole in Kubrat Pulev's defense.
And I don't know why Pulev is standing in front of him here without any legs, badly hurt. Even if the idea is to rough Klitschko up, boy, you better clear your head.
There was a quote in a German newspaper, a reporter saying to Klitschko, do you think that Pulev is the toughest opponent in years? And Klitschko's response was, what if I knock him out in the first round? What will you think then? Got 48 seconds in which to still try to pull that off.
The problem with Klitschko now is you stay away and lean back as you see Pulev's weight's on his back foot.
Hard right hand by Vladimir.
Yeah, you're in line for that right hand that can knock you out. You come in and try to get inside the reach. That left hook was waiting for him and almost knocked him out.
Vladimir holding his left down below his waist as though inviting Pulev to come to him. Lands a right hand again, and Pulev momentarily has to hold on. It's been a show of force in the first round. And 7 round for Vladimir Klitschko after 2 left hook knockdowns of Kubrat Pulev.
Here's the first knockdown. Pulev with disdain for Klitschko's power. Klitschko comes in with the left hook. Actually, that was Klitschko coming to Pulev a little more than I originally thought. And then the second knockdown, Pulev never had his legs from the first knockdown. Here's a right hand. Luckily for Pulev, his weight was far back enough that most of the power was spent by the time it landed.
Those were 3 of the 8 punches CompuBox found Klitschko landing in the first round out of only 20 thrown. Klitschko 8 of 20, Pulev 6 out of 18. 4 of Kubrat Pulev's 8 landed punches, or 6 landed punches, were power shots. 4 of Klitschko's 8 landed punches were power shots, 2 knockdowns. We go to round 2. Pulev lands a jab.
Pulev jabbing to the body. probing Klitschko's defenses. Fighting at a much more measured distance than he did in the first round after those knockdowns. Pulev is.
Klitschko sticking his jab. Sometimes thunderous, sometimes tactical. And he gathers Pulev in as Kubrat comes to him.
Pulev with a couple of rabbit punches behind Klitschko's head.
Another right hand lands for Kliichko, and the crowd roars, but that one was just a little bit offline. Pulev doesn't have enough head movement to be an elusive target for Klitschko's power shots.
No, as you said, he leans back with his hands down, which when you're 6'4.5", oftentimes you're tall enough to get away with that. But against a taller fighter, you remain in the line of punches. Here Pulev now getting close enough to Kliichko in that clinch where he has an arm free and he feels he's out of danger to land something, anything to disrupt Kliichko, including those behind-the-head rabbit punches.
You wonder at what point Tony Weeks might begin talking to Pulev about rabbit punting. So far, he's letting them get away with it. Prior to tonight, Pulev had been down once in his career, last fall against Joey Abel. Now 2 more knockdowns to go with that by Kliichko in round 1.
That second knockdown was really a continuation of the first. It shows you just how hard Kliichko hit Pulev and how hurt Pulev was, that he went down essentially from a shove or a tap.
And Kliichko landed another hard left hook under the chin of Pulev. Everybody talks about the jab and the right hand. In fact, his most efficiently effective punch, when he uses it, may be that left hook. And he can hook off the jab like few heavyweights have done.
Yeah, Klitschko is just an excellent offensive fighter. Defensively, as you're seeing here he is being held, but defensively, he relies on his height, reach, and clinching frequently in recent fights.
In the books.
Standing there. I know you don't want to move back, but moving in circle, pivoting and start boxing, that's not moving backwards. He's trying to make an ugly fight. He's trying to get you on fouls. He's trying to cut you some type of way. He's trying to fight really dirty. You better than that. You don't have to fight dirty. Start boxing this dude up and down with your jab. You don't know when the punch is coming if you start dressing him up and down with your jab. Start boxing. Use that beautiful rhythm you got. This is your canvas. Use the rhythm you got. He can't keep up with your rhythm. Start moving. Jump up and down with the jab. Keep the right hand here so you can shoot it straight down the middle. You will never see it coming. See it.
Round 3 begins. Jonathan Banks telling Vladimir Klitschko, don't fall prey to the foul fest. You don't need to do that. Move in a circle, use your feet, set him up for clean shots.
Yeah, I think the geometry of the fight is important for Kliichko, rather than just in and out, which sometimes his opponent can dictate. When he fights on an angle, when he turns his opponent and fights in the circle behind that jab, very little Pulev should be able to do.
Particularly given that Pulev holds his hands in such a way as to allow an opening for Klitschko's jab. Pulev holding his left hand out and waving it in a circle allows Kliichko to simply ram the jab straight up the middle of Pulev's defense.
Yeah, that style of kind of snaking it around like that is a kind of smoke and mirrors style. I don't know how effective he expects it to be against Kliichko, who mechanically then has the advantage straight up the middle, as Pulev's left hand is not there really for defense for straight punches.
Body shot landed for Pulev. Klitschko doesn't throw many body shots. In 12 rounds against Alexander Povetkin, a stunning statistic, CompuBox found Klitschko landing no body shots. But when you're 6 feet 6 inches tall, it may not be in your best interest to invite counter punches that way.
Necessity is the mother of invention, and why should Klitschko have to invent a body
right
attack
hand by Klitschko momentarily wobbled Pulev again.
when he can do that? That's just standing in the middle of the ring, both guys boxing, and one guy able to land that kind of shot
A
at
left
will.
hook and a push, and Pulev is down for the 3rd time. And that left hook is proving unstoppable for Vladimir Klitschko.
Hey, come here, come here. Okay, go.
Tony Week's going to let him keep going. Pulev keeps insisting, I'm not hurt. Klitschko's knocking him down more or less at will.
Yeah, and like in the first round where the second knockdown was a continuation of the first, that first right hand in this round, Pulev never got his legs back. He's just starting to bounce a little now.
A bloody mark under the left eye now of Kubrat Pulev, perhaps the product of the Klitschko right hand.
Pulev has been reduced to rabbit punching Klitschko. It's the only thing he's done in this fight.
I was just about to say, his best punches are landed in clinches on the back of Klitschko's head. Round 3 concludes.
Watch out.
Yeah, yes, I know. Good. Super.
There's the Kliichko right hand. You know what I mean? To stand in the middle of the ring and be able to land a right hand that cleanly that produces a knockdown. The other guy's hands are up. He's anticipating an attack, and it doesn't matter. And by the way, Jim, that follow-up left hook, you were right. That was a real hard shot, not like the first round where Pulev just went down because his legs were still wobbly.
Harold, how do you have it through 3?
Okay, Jim, I got it 30-24. 3 rounds to nothing, Vladimir Klitschko. You know, just like you said, you got to give him an extra 2 points for the 2 knockdowns in round 1. You got to give him an extra point for the knockdown in round 3. I mean, that's a huge 6-point lead, Vladimir Scott. Jim, Kubrat Pulev, surprisingly, to me at least, is recuperating very well from these knockdowns. I mean, every time he's got up, he seems able to fight, you know, and he is fighting. So at least we're getting something out of the opponent. 3-0, Vladimir Klitschko.
And as you were speaking, Harold, Pulev landed a right and a left, 2 of the harder shots that Klitschko has taken in his last several fights.
I agree with Harold. In both the first and third round, Pulev went down, especially in the first, with the look of a guy who was not going to be able to continue, but here we are on the 4th, and he had a little moment of success earlier in this round. Once upon a time, Jim, if a guy could show Klitschko that he could take his power and still be in front of him by the 5th round and still be willing to take risks, we saw in several fights Klitschko didn't fare well. Klitschko collapsed, but that was a long time ago and almost a different lifetime as a fighter for Vladimir Klitschko.
Yeah, he hasn't really had an uncertain moment since getting knocked down against DeBarrel Williamson in the fight after the Lehman Brewster fight, the last time he lost in 2004, more than 10 years ago. Other than, of course, the 3 knockdowns against Sam Peter in 2005.
And Emmanuel Stewart was able to talk him through those shaky moments.
And by the way, Pulev must have seen the Peter fight because one of Samuel Peter's knockdowns was clearly the result of a punch to the back of Klitschko's head.
I mentioned to begin the fight that sometimes Klitschko opponents come in confident, and after a couple rounds that's beaten out of them. Doesn't look like Pulev has had the confidence beaten out of him in spite of 4 knockdowns in the first 3 rounds.
Three knockdowns. 2 in the first, 1 in the third.
Excuse me.
Feels like 4.
That right hand that landed, I registered that as a knockdown, Jim.
That right hand left a mark, which is still there, under the left eye of Kubrat Pulev. 30 seconds to go in round 4. Another left hook lands for Kliichko.
Stop. Let him go. Let him go.
Right back to support it, Vladimir. Let's go.
And another left hook to punctuate round 4 as Kliichko continues to dominate in Hamburg, Germany. Meanwhile, November 22 from Macau, China, HBO pay-per-view brings you the welterweight showdown between Manny Pacquiao and Chris Algieri. November 29, Boxing After Dark returns from Omaha, Nebraska, with hometown hero Terrence Crawford defending his lightweight title against Ray Beltran. Sneaky candidate for potential Fight of the Year consideration because Beltran is a rugged, all-out warrior who will give Crawford a tussle in Omaha.
Love that matchup.
He's sitting there with his hands wide open. Only thing you got to do is keep your defense going like you're doing and just use that left hand and keep your ready. And you're good to go.
Передней рукой, когда поджимаешь. Сильно не зажимайся.
CompuBox count showing Kliichko throwing only 19 punches per round, but landing at a 42% connect rate and seemingly landing at will, particularly with the left hook, which has been a damaging punch along with one giant right cross in the 3rd round. Pulev, 20 of 88 so far, a 23% connect percentage. Another hard right hand for Kliichko. And Pulev continues to fight back. Got a pretty decent chin for a guy who's been down 3 times.
Yeah, Pulev decided to fight back with the head again. I mean, that right hand that he threw landed on the back of Klitschko's head. Of course, that's part of Klitschko's defensive strategy. He only gives you the back of his head in those clinches. And so if you move your hands, your free hand, which you're supposed to do, the only way to hit him upstairs is to the back of the head.
An illegal punch, not a legal punch. Not showing up in the CompuBox numbers, for instance. German crowd chanting as 2 Eastern European-born fighters square off in the ring. Over the course of the past decade, Germans have become quite accustomed to supporting as fans guys who were born in Eastern Europe and migrated to Germany for economic opportunity. Arthur Abraham, I should say, from Romania. Both Klitschkos from Ukraine. Kubrat Pulev from Bulgaria. Most of his fights in Germany.
Klitschko opponents have to know by now that they're going to have to walk through the fire to get the win.
Hard right hand by Pulev. And the Kliichko chin holds up for the moment to that punch.
Yes, Pulev.
Down goes Pulev on another left hook. And that may be the one from which he does not get up. He's done. And it's a 5th round KO win for Vladimir Klitschko.
What you just saw was a fighter, as we were talking about Pulev's fighting spirit, that he hadn't gotten the fight beaten out of him. He never did have the fight beaten out of him. Vladimir Klitschko simply separated him from his senses. This, Jim, is why boxing is more compelling than any other sport. It's not a metaphor, it's literal. He just separated, Klitschko did, Pulev from his own will, as in Pulev's brain told his legs, get up. His legs couldn't do it.
And the right eye of Pulev, a perfect illustration of the damage that Kliichko did with that left hook. You see Vitaly Klitschko's wife on the cell phone, most likely to Hayden Panettiere, Klitschko's girlfriend, who is awaiting the birth of their 1st child. And a political figure of increasing importance in their home country, Ukraine. And there's Pulev with ice on the right eye and swelling under the left eye as well. So let's take another look back at some of the action in the ring. And that's another angle of the left hook, which brought the end of the fight. Again, so much is made of the tremendous jab and the dominant right hand, but this left hook has fashioned many knockouts over the years. Ray Austin comes to mind. There have been a couple of others. And tonight, the left hook was an unstoppable punch, Max, as it accounted for 3 of the 4 knockdowns of Pulev.
Yeah, and the reason...
The end comes at 2 minutes, 11 seconds of round number 5. The winner by knockout victory, and still heavyweight champion of the world, Dr. Steel Hammer, Vladimir Klitschko.